In 1846, a young doctor in Vienna noticed something horrifying. Women were dying in his hospital's maternity ward at terrifying rates, dying of a fever right after giving birth. And in one ward specifically, the death rate was up to 5 times higher than in the ward right next door. His name was Ignaz Semmelweis, and he figured out why. The deadly ward was staffed by doctors who went straight from dissecting corpses to delivering babies without washing their hands. The safer ward was staffed by midwives who didn't handle corpses at all. Semmelweis had doctors start washing their hands in a chlorine solution. The death rate collapsed almost overnight. He had done it. He had found something that was saving women's lives, right in front of everyone. So what happened to him? He was mocked, rejected, driven out of his profession. Doctors were offended by the suggestion that they were the ones killing their patients. His ideas were dismissed for decades. He eventually had a breakdown, was committed to an asylum, and died there, ironically, of an infection. He was right, he had proof, and being right destroyed him. Semmelweis was suffering from one of the most painful patterns a human being can experience. It even has a name. It's called the Cassandra Complex. And once you understand it, you'll see it everywhere, including, possibly in your own life. Here's what it is. The Cassandra Complex is when someone accurately predicts a truth or a future event and no one believes them. They're dismissed, ignored, ridiculed, and then the thing they warned about happens anyway. Chris Williamson put it in a way that sticks. There are few feelings worse in this life than being right but early. Being right but early can feel exactly like being wrong. You see the problem coming. You warn the people around you, and instead of thanks, you get eye rolls. You get called dramatic, paranoid, negative, alarmist, and then it happens. And nobody even remembers that you called it. To understand where this comes from, you have to go back to the story it's named after. In Greek mythology, Cassandra was a princess of Troy. She was so beautiful that the god Apollo fell for her, and he gave her a gift, the gift of prophecy, the ability to see the future, truly and accurately. But when Cassandra rejected his advances, Apollo couldn't take the gift back, so instead he twisted it into a curse. She would still see the future perfectly, but no one would ever believe her. Think about how cruel that is. She could see exactly what was coming, every disaster, every death, and she was completely powerless to stop any of it because every warning she gave was treated as madness. Her most famous prophecy was the big one. She foresaw the fall of Troy. When the Greeks left that enormous wooden horse outside the gates as a supposed gift, Cassandra knew. She warned everyone. She told them soldiers were hidden inside. She begged them not to bring it into the city. They laughed at her. They called her insane. They wheeled the horse in themselves. That night, the soldiers climbed out, opened the gates, and Troy burned to the ground. Cassandra was right. She was always right, and it never once saved her or anyone she tried to warn. That's the origin. But here's why it matters, because this isn't just a myth. It's a pattern that repeats through all of human history. Take Galileo. In the early 1600s, Galileo looked through a telescope and saw evidence that the Earth was not the center of the universe, that it moved around the sun. He was right. We now know, without any doubt, that he was right, but he was centuries ahead of what the authorities of his time were willing to accept. His findings threatened the entire established worldview, so he wasn't celebrated. He was put on trial, forced to publicly take back what he knew to be true, and spent the rest of his life under house arrest. The truth didn't protect him. Being right didn't protect him. The world simply wasn't ready to hear it yet, and it keeps happening. Rachel Carson warned in the 1960s that pesticides were poisoning the environment. She was mocked as hysterical until she was proven completely right and helped launch the entire environmental movement. The pattern is always the same. Someone sees clearly. They warn, they're punished for it, and only later, sometimes long after they're gone, does everyone finally admit they were right all along. So here's the uncomfortable question. Why does this happen? Why do humans do this? Because the truth is, it's not really about the messenger being crazy, it's about the audience not being ready. A warning that contradicts what everyone already believes doesn't feel like information. It feels like an attack. When Semmelweis said, "You're killing your patients," doctors didn't hear a solution. They heard an insult. When Galileo said the Earth moves, people didn't hear a discovery. They heard a threat to everything they knew. Human beings are wired to protect their existing worldview. And when someone shows up with a truth that would require tearing that worldview down, the easiest thing to do isn't to listen. It's to dismiss the person. Being told you're wrong is uncomfortable. So the crowd protects itself by deciding the messenger is the problem. Now here's where this lands for you. Because you have almost certainly been a Cassandra at some point. You saw a relationship that was going to fall apart and you said so and no one listened. You warned that a plan was going to fail and you were told to stop being negative, and then it failed. You knew something was wrong at a job, in a family, in a friendship, long before anyone else was willing to admit it. And when it all came true, you didn't feel vindicated, you just felt alone. That feeling of seeing clearly in a world that refuses to see with you is one of the most isolating experiences a person can have. So what do you do with it? Because here's the trap. The Cassandra Complex can make you bitter. It can make you stop speaking up. It can teach you that seeing the truth is a curse, and that the safest thing to do is keep your mouth shut and let the horse roll through the gates. But that's the wrong lesson. Here's the right one. Every single advance in human history came from someone who was right before the crowd was ready. The doctor who said, "Wash your hands," the scientist who said the earth moves, the person who said this isn't working, long before anyone else would admit it. They were all mocked, and they were all necessary. Progress doesn't come from the people who wait until an idea is safe and popular. It comes from the ones who see it early, say it out loud, and hold the line even while everyone laughs. So if you're someone who sees things before others do, if you've felt the loneliness of being right too early, understand what that actually means. It doesn't mean you're cursed. It means you're paying attention in a world where most people aren't. The goal isn't to stop seeing, and it isn't to scream louder at people who aren't ready. It's to keep your clarity without letting it turn into bitterness. To say the true thing, plant the seed, and accept that some seeds take years to grow. To trust what you see even when the room disagrees. Because Troy still fell, the hands still needed washing, the earth still moved, the truth didn't need the crowd's permission to be true. And neither do you. The crowd will catch up. It always does. The only question is whether you'll still be standing there, clear-eyed, when it finally does. Most people, the moment they're doubted, go quiet. They let go of what they saw. Don't be most people. See clearly, say it anyway, and let history do the rest.